Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday. So this week, we're going to do something a little bit different. We figured we're always reading a book a week, always doing reviews, but we don't really kind of chat and let you guys know about us and, um, you know, where we are in this podcast slash bookworm journey. Um, so this week we're not reviewing a book. We are just going to sit and chat. If that is not your vibe, cool. Sounds great. Next week we will come back with another book review for Grove Hollow Metamorphosis, and everything will be fine and dandy. But who knows? Maybe you guys will like this little kind of impromptu chat session between two best friends.
Hopefully, it's a good episode and you guys like it.
So, first things first, um, we are two best friends who have known each other forever. Jen, remember, we do not put numbers on things. So, it
Oh,
just
no.
rest assured, it's been a long time.
Yeah, like 20-ish.
You're such a whore.
I
Okay,
know.
so yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be a good idea to just kind of like dive into who we are as readers. That way, like, you're sitting here listening to our books we're reviewing, you're listening to our opinions and stuff, so it'd be a good idea to have a baseline. I myself, I've been reading since I was like a tiny little thing. My mom used to read me like books, Sesame Street books, and we used to read to fall asleep, and it just kind of sparked something, and I was always the one who was reading, at midnight with a flashlight and like a whole bunch of books around me. And it was like Jen jokes sometimes that it's like Rory Gilmore. I was always having a book with me.
Oh, that's so sickening and so cute. And like, oh, I wish I could have been.
What? Which part? With mom reading
All
books
of
to
it.
me?
Yes, that's adorable.
It was so cute.
I can picture baby Rachel just laying around with books everywhere. Ugh, how
I
adorable.
did. They were always my favorite things. I even have in my dresser, there's four drawers, like four of the big drawers. And on the bottommost drawer is all of my like little kid books. Like I have a book in there about a kitten from 1994, and like there's a whole bunch of just, childhood Rachel books in there.
Absolutely adorable.
What about
Meanwhile,
you?
I was just gonna say, meanwhile, me, moi, I was dyslexic. Well, I still am, but I
Not
mean,
like it went away. Like I was once upon a time back when I suffered from dyslexia.
uh, so listen, I didn't really learn how to really read well until like fifth grade. Like, I mean, I could barely hold down like a basic book at that point.
Mhm.
So, like sixth, seventh, eighth, I was like, fuck reading. I hate reading because I was that rebellious kid.
You were also a little jock, though. I'm not that
I
jocks can't read. It's like in Pride and Prejudice, he's like, not that I can read. I just, there's so many other things to do.
I remember that. Uh, so yes, I was the kid constantly outside in the dirt, riding her bike, football, soccer, like you name it, I was playing it with the guys on the that. So I lived on a circle. Uh, so all of us kids would get together and we'd play pickup football and freaking all this other shit. So I wasn't sitting at home reading. And when I was at home, I was behind the video
Like the
games.
freaks. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I always like I wanted to be that kid, but because I struggled so much, I just hated reading. And then I think it was seventh grade, Miss DiAgostino's class. She made us read No Promises in the Wind.
Oh, I remember that.
I still own a copy of the book because like it really is what kind of sparked everything. And then like I was reading a little bit here and there, but then I met you and
Mm,
you
mwah.
handed you handed me a trash bag of books one day.
Wrong.
And I haven't stopped reading since.
Not the bodice rippers.
Not the bodice rippers. There was two trash bags full that summer.
They were legit like the Harlequin romances.
I literally just gave some of those away, like, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year ago now.
Oh, my heart.
Oh, I still kept a couple.
No, there were so many books.
Oh my God. I shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves. And of course, I'm like popping three of these a day. My dad's like, "Do we need to go to the library?" I was like, "Yes." Yes, we do. I could get 12 at a
Oh.
time. Thank you.
So you could say that both me and Miss D'Agostino sparked your love of literature.
Absolutely. Because if it wasn't for
Mm,
you being such a reading buff and handing me more books,
such a book slut.
I would have been so content just not reading.
Yeah, but I remember, I mean, veering a little bit off books, you were so cool. I used to like, you would walk down the halls and you would know everyone. I didn't know anyone. My head was always in a book to the point where when I was walking down the hallways, I walked with my head in a book. And like, I got so good at peripheral vision.
Oh my God. But the funny thing is that
Not you, man. You were like, hey, what's up, people?
just because I knew him doesn't mean I liked him,
Facts.
and vice versa. Like I had just as many enemies as I did friends in that at that time frame because I was a soccer player, so like I could meld with anybody, but at the same time, like I hated everybody there.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so No Promises in the Wind was what kind of triggered it, which I love that book. And then, of course, you got sucked into the Harlequin romances by
Yep.
my generous donation.
Yep.
Um, but your favorite books are mysteries, are they not?
Tis correct. Miss Agatha freaking Christie, man. We were forced to read and then there were none. I think it was Miss Gilbert's class. Uh, yeah, Miss Gilbert.
We're
Oh
name
God.
dropping all of the teachers.
Well, because you know what? They deserve it. Because if her ass didn't make me read that, I would have never fallen in love with Agatha Christie. Because after that, I picked up A Mirror Crack. Then there was The Lady That Vanished. Then there was a whole like short story series. I've got some of the like editions in my bookshelves. Like they're not great copies, like they're kind of falling apart, but I still have some very, very old editions, and I'm very happy about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, estate
So,
sales. Woohoo.
dude, I met someone, or I have a friend that I just kind of like, I mean, not that I just met her. We've been chatting, but we don't really stay in touch. But when we see each other, we chat. And she was saying that that's one of her favorite things is to go to like thrift stores and like, you know, go and get like the used books, which I love too.
There's something about like getting a used book, especially from someone that you know that was like a book lover. And the estate sale that I went to, you could tell this guy loved books. I mean, his literal entire basement was books. Literally. He made special shelvings just for his books. And there was like one, two, there was three different rooms and it just like branched out. Like there was books literally everywhere. I I left with a trunk full, but at the same time, like when you open up some of these books and you see like little notations or little dedications or like love notes in there
Mm-hmm.
from these people that like received these books, or him writing his name in the book, like that's a part of his history, which makes me happy to be part of his future, I guess you could say. He might not be with us, but now I hold his past in my hands and I can pass that on to someone else that might enjoy the same thing.
It's almost like at that point, it's like the book itself, like the book's past and future. Like the gentleman who loved and took care of the book was part of the book's past, and then you now are the current caretaker of the book, and you are
Hmm.
caring for it. That's kind of like that's kind of poetic in
Yeah,
preserving literature,
some
preserving like
yeah,
humanity essentially.
yeah, and it's kind of like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. They just it
The
magically just
sisterhood of the traveling book.
exactly. It just it works. It's I like it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I have a book that I was gifted. It's a Tom Sawyer. It's a version of Tom Sawyer. It's like a hardcover, whatever edition, and
Mhm.
it was owned by someone before, and they wrote a note in it on like the cover page or whatever. It's really cool. It's really cool. Like you said, just like having that little bit of the book's journey in existence.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like I hope that whoever gets all the books that I own, I hope they appreciate the fact that I have an embossing stamp that has my name that goes in there. So they can be like, cool, I knew Jen because I knew her book.
Yeah. Um, so so your favorite genre is mystery, right?
Yeah, we got far away from that, huh?
No, that's fine. I'm just, circling back. What are your like top three? So like mystery is top, and then what else you got? What else you love?
I'd say probably fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah, that tracks. That's
Ah,
what I thought you were gonna say. What?
well, fantasy romance, maybe. Sci-fi I still love, but I think romance has kind of come up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
What about you?
Can I just have all of my favorite genres be subgenres of romance? I love like I love, historical romance. No, I love historical fiction. I love romance in general,
Mhm.
specifically romantasy. Is that the new term?
I think it is.
Fantomance. I don't know. Um so like fantasy romance. Um I don't know. I love supernatural books. Um
No, you don't say with Interview with the Vampire.
I was just thinking about Anne Rice. I was like, should I just say vampires in general?
Uh, yes.
Yes. um, so what I want to know, if you had your perfect reading conditions, what would they be? I'm talking setting, I'm talking book, I'm talking snacks, what is your perfect all around, five senses of book reading?
You would ask me that. All I gotta say is it's gotta be warm. I like the sun, a comfy chair. I don't care if it's beachside or just lounging in the grass, but I need some sort of just outside vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Preferably by water. I like sitting by the pond when I'm home or like in this area. Or if I can, I'd rather go to the beach and go read. But so I'm gonna be weird. I don't snack while I eat or snack while I read. I don't snack while I eat. That's a lie.
Okay, like on principle, or it's just like not one of the things that you do?
It's just something I don't really do. I don't know why, but like
Okay.
every so often I'll have a snack, but like I tend not to. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
because like if I'm gonna have a snack, it's gonna be like something, like Doritos or Smart Food or, you know, something that it's
Something
gonna
that'll
ruin the
get on the
pages.
book. Yeah.
So I just stuck to it. But don't get me wrong, I love having a beer and reading or sitting there with a big tall jug of water. Like I'm good with that. Or coffee. Coffee's
Mm.
great too. Iced or hot. I don't give a shit.
So basically, a beverage. You like it to be warm outside, preferably by water,
Yep.
and have a beverage of some flavor.
Yep.
I can dig it.
No, I know we're two way different people when it comes to reading styles like that.
You know what's so funny is we're literally the same person, but also sometimes we're the complete opposites. That's why the yin and yang works so well for us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would prefer. Okay, so setting. I like outside, but it has to be raining, so I'd have to be under a veranda or something, or like a gazebo. Oh, stop, a gazebo with like pillows everywhere. Hold on, and maybe like by a lake, or or like somewhere like Maine, and it's rainy, but I'm also by the ocean. I'm getting very I'm getting very particular now, but it's raining, so it's overcast, right? And then,
Yep.
but I'm warm. But I also like it when it's cold anyway, so it doesn't matter. Um, Beverage has to be iced tea. If it's peach iced tea, that's even better because we're feeling a little spicy that day, a little different, you know. Um,
Different.
a little different, but I need books around, and also I would prefer a cat to be by me. So, but that's impossible because my cats are not outside cats. It's okay. We have to give. No,
Ooh.
it's my fantasy. I can have a cat if I want to.
Ooh, I was just gonna say, what about a log cabin by the lake while it's raining in Maine with an enclosed porch? That way your cat can be there with all the cushions and the books.
Okay, no me gusta the log cabin. But if it was, so I love New England architecture though. So like a
Okay.
classic main house with like a widow's peak.
There we
Ugh.
go. See,
Mm.
look at that.
But the waves crashing and the rain and some thunder. Oof, girl.
Oh,
A
goodness.
beanbag chair, thousands of pillows.
See, the funny thing is, I tried one of those Papasan chairs to read, and
Mhm.
it just ain't it. It's not for me.
They
Like,
seem uncomfortable.
they really are. Like, especially if you have back problems, forget that. Like, I'll take a rocking chair any day.
A rocking chair. Hold on. Okay, so you know how they have those beds that are like small beds, but they're like rocking, or they're like hanging suspended from the ceiling. Okay, so if I was in a
Oh,
pergola with one of those hanging bed things. Okay, I'm done with my fantasy. I
you're
promise.
so cute.
Okay, so I kind of want to chat a little bit about why we started the podcast to begin with, and like where essentially where we got the idea. I think we both kind of fell out of reading because of some less than ideal relationships that we were in, if I can make that claim.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Facts.
so we both kind of fell out of reading, and then when we made decisions that were healthy for us to cut ties with negative energy and toxic ass people, um we both kind of fell back into reading. We both found our love of reading again.
Ooh. Do you remember what book kicked it off?
I don't, do you?
I don't. Ooh.
Well, I don't remember. I remember it was around the time a friend of mine started reading again, and she really loved a specific author, and she was asking me to read her, and I didn't I I started reading something else and I can't remember. But either way, like so we found our love of reading again, and then we found that we were sitting there and we were talking to each other about them. So we would read these books, and then you we would be reading different books, and then whenever we were chatting, we would sit there and, you would tell me about your book, I would tell you about my book. And then I thought to myself, well, if we're going to sit here and chat about books that we're reading, we may as well slap some microphones in front of our faces, and then maybe we'll find other people out there that like talking about the books too, or like at least listening to our rambling messes.
Well, I think you skipped a very crucial part of it. We started
What's that?
sending we started sending each other books, like physical
Oh,
copies of books back and
yeah,
forth so the other one could read them.
that's true. We did
Uh,
mailing
I think
each other physical copies.
I would I think that was probably my favorite part of it because it was like, oh, I just finished this really good book. Like, here's four of the series. Go read it.
Oh, Katie Roberts. You sent me
Yes,
the Neon God series,
I did. I
which you still have some that I haven't read yet, but that's neither here nor
uh
there.
I think I only have one that I haven't sent you that I own because I
Oh, really?
yeah, because I slowed down because we started reading other things. Like
Yeah.
like Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Because
Fan freaking task. Fantastic.
yes. Yep. Ugh, that's what really fucking kicked it off.
Yeah.
That that series, well, those two series right there.
Yeah, I think for sure. Um, and then look at what we did. Look at what we did. Um, sometimes it's really really easy. What's funny is like sometimes we'll sit there and we'll be like, oh, I finished like 3 books this week, or I'm reading this book for fun and this book for the podcast. And then sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's literally like I can't even read the one book for the podcast. Sometimes it's like
Mm.
Monday and we're like, because normally we record on Sundays, and then it's like, I need until Monday because I'm struggle bussing.
Yeah, very, very fact, very true facts right there. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Straight facts.
But
That's okay.
it's like it's sometimes like we could freaking go through a 600-page book no freaking problem and just eat it up, and then all of a sudden here comes like this little 200-page book and we're like, I can't do it. I need
Yo,
till
for
Monday.
some of those novellas, it takes me forever to read, and I don't know why. Well, you know what? I say this in the episodes, but like sometimes the technical writing aspects just I get so hung up on, and then I'm just like, But what would you say is your favorite thing about this journey of having the podcast?
We've actually found some really good bangers of books, like from small, teeny little authors that are just
Mm-hmm.
starting out their journey, and we found them. And bro, I can't wait for these authors to blow up because they deserve it because their books were so fantastic. And there's
Mm-hmm.
been a couple that we've gotten just like ARCs from, and their books are so fantastic. And you know, that I think that's my favorite is just knowing that there's people that haven't been discovered that we might possibly be discovering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being able to like be on the journey with them.
Yeah, and hope that, our episode reaches someone to help buy their book and hopefully like push their journey ahead a little bit more.
I love that too. I love the idea of like if we can bring an author's book to one person, just one person. If I can get one person to read that book, then that's another reader for the author.
Yep.
And we have met some really cool ass authors. I think it's so crazy that like Katie Roberts. I've had a conversation with her. Like it was a short like exchange, but like I've had contact with her on threads or
Yep.
like um Emily McIntyre. Like we've met some authors, bro. Nenia, I will praise her for as long as I live. Like and we chat with her all the time. Or like, what's her name? Cassandra? Yeah, Cassandra. The
Ooh, Cassandra Thompson.
Quill and Crow.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And
It's
so like the fact that we have go ahead.
nope.
The fact that we're like reading these books and we're gagging over how incredible these books are. And to be able to like just, at them, like to just message them on, or like, at them on threads and be like, hey, this book is fantastic. And then have them like see it or acknowledge it or something is so crazy.
Yeah, it's like I hate to be like this big of a dork, but it's like having Stephen King actually like validate what you're saying. It's like, holy shit, like the king of horror just said something on my post. Like, not,
Literally, like he did for that author, like when he shouted out, he's like, oh, make sure you read this book. I was dying. I was so excited for her.
I put her book in my TBR because of that. I was like, ooh,
I did.
if he gave the approval, it's gotta be good, so I gotta read it.
Well, I just love how genuine she was at the whole thing. So
Oh yeah. She actually, oh, she put it as her background on her phone with the little blurb that he wrote about her. That was the sweetest freaking thing ever.
yeah, I love the whole, and that's not to say I've actually been really struggling with social medias lately, and I know that you have too. Like I love having these connections with the authors. I love getting the updates. I love seeing what they're all doing and being on this journey and like knowing that we're not the only ones that are sitting here loving these books. Um, but man, one of the hardest things I think about having this podcast is literally like the social media aspect because we want to have fun. Like we want to enjoy life. We want to meet cool people, talk about awesome things. Like we're the little weirdos like wanting to chill. And unfortunately, like you can't always be chill and have a good time. And like sometimes the toxicity on social media is like the hardest part about having this
Facts.
podcast and being on this journey.
Do straight facts because it's like I hate to even bring this up, but like we want to talk books. And during the election, it was like everybody wanted to talk politics. And that's just not our vibe. Like, yes, there are certain things that need to be said when it comes to political aspects, but that's not what we want for the podcast. Like, we just want to be talking about books and showing people love for their books. And we couldn't even do that. We had to like literally log out for like 3 weeks. And I can't tell you how much that hurt us.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the way that I handle if someone's having a hard time or if someone's having grief is like giving them a space to not have to talk about it. Like if someone has a loss in their life or something, or they're having a hard time, like I like being that place where they can come and maybe make a joke, maybe not have to think about it for a little while. And because with all of the big things going on, with people's basic human rights being taken away, and with people being scared for their well-being and the future of us as you know humans, as a country, as a collective, whatever, um we want to be those people that you can kind of come to not think about it for a second. Not that we're trying to not think about it, but you can't have everything be so heavy all the time. And so um it's just it's hard, man. It's hard when everything is so when everyone is so angry and scared, and and then we're like fighting amongst each other. So we just want our channel to in our socials to be something that makes your day happier or brightens things up a little bit in a time when it's all really hard and dark and scary and you know
We want to be the place where you can escape reality.
yeah, like the books that we love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I finally caught where you were going with that. Sorry.
Thank you. No, you're perfect. That was perfect because like I get so in my head sometimes and I try and like over explain things and it's like they don't come out right because I'm trying to encapsulate so many things at once that it doesn't come out right. It comes out jumbled. Um
Right. Which
but
is why I was
yeah,
like, yeah.
but you said it perfectly. I mean, there are important things going on, and we want to be that place where you can kind of come and decompress. So because of that, we don't post like heavier things. I did get a little bit that one time. Like I did start posting on things, and I noticed that I was getting really, really, really like cunty, like myself. I was getting like really just like a shitty person to be around because I was so upset. Because we're very passionate people. And so then we were like, okay, hold on, step back.
Yeah. But at the same time, that's why we just log off when we have to instead of interjecting, I guess
Mhm.
you could say, because it's like sometimes that interjection just it's not worth it. It's more harmful than it is good. So if we take the
Yeah.
step back, then it's okay. It's as good for
It
our mental health.
yeah. It's like that saying where it's like, people who don't stand for something will fall for anything or whatever. And it's like we're in that rock and a hard place of like we have very strong beliefs, but also like it can't be heavy all the time. Um So, yeah, I mean, come hang out with us and vibe and just take a break from reality because sometimes stuff is rough.
Then you could get back to life, back to reality. Sorry. I
Yeah,
figured I'd lighten the mood a little bit.
thank you. um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like uh, there's so many different things that we can dive into, but I think for a good little like check-in, I think we've kind of covered everything.
I think so too. You get to know about us a little bit. You get to catch our chaotic vibe and, see
I
how we
know.
do.
I want to capture like this essence in our normal podcasts. So we'll have to figure out how to do that.
We
Because
will.
people are going to listen to this episode and be like, "Who the fuck are these people?"
We're the crazies that run this whole thing.
I don't know if you ever watched In the Army Now with Polly Shore. I love Polly Shore. Have you ever watched it?
I have not.
So he starts off the movie and he's like working in an appliance store, and he Andy Dick is his like co-star or whatever, and they're both working in this store. And their catchphrase is "We're the crazy boys." Oh, how can we sell this TV for this cheap? It's because we're the crazy boys. And I say that so often. It's a
Oh,
problem.
that's hilarious.
So, yeah, if you're looking for good mysteries, Jen is where it's at, If the book is more romance and you like I mean, no, you like romance too, but like there are certain things where like we both have similar opinions on, but man, I love it when we disagree.
I know you do.
I love it. It's well, because it makes it more. I mean, we can't agree on everything all the time.
Well, I mean, no, our taste in men is totally different, besides the age gap thing. I mean, we can both agree on that.
I swear to God.
Ugh, yeah. But I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, because we've known each other so long, it's easier to agree on things. than disagree. Not like in a sense where I won't disagree with you, but
Mhm.
we just our tastes have melded so well over the years that it's just like we do tend to agree more than not.
Well, yes. And also, I think not only that, but also we can see where each other's coming from. So if I really really like
Yes.
something, or if there's an aspect of a book and you read it and you don't like it, you might be like, "Oof, Rachel's going to love this part." And I do the same thing. I'm like, "Oh, Jen's going to highlight that quote."
Yep, because I also do it when like there's something that happens to an animal. I'm like, "Oh no, she's gonna be so sad." And I'm like, I'll make sure that I'm available if you you get to that part after me, and I'll be like, "Are you okay?"
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
but you do the same thing for me with some of the heavy topics, so it works
Yeah.
out very nice.
Got to be there for my girl, man. You know what I mean? Like, gotta watch your back.
Oh, that makes me think of Fast and Furious.
Watch your back.
Oh, that's when he's coming out of the back room.
At the very, very beginning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The hottest part.
Okay, listen. Everyone talks about what's his name, Aragorn from on Lord of the Rings when he like walks through the doors, the double doors. I don't know what his
Oh,
name is.
I think it's Aragon, but
Sure.
it's been a minute.
I'm not a Tolkien fan. I need to try and rewatch the movies at least, but like anyway, so like yes with that scene with him coming in through the doors, but anytime any man like walks with that like purpose and like flings open a door. I just watched a scene in Vikings the other day where Rollo pushes open the doors like that. I'm like, yep.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that concludes this episode. How about you? You feeling good? Feeling energized and ready for the next book?
I'm feeling like I need to go read Latte Darling, but you know,
Oh,
I got to get you a copy of that book.
I will read it eventually.
I
Eventually, our
know.
TBRs are swallowing us whole.
Oh God, you're not kidding.
Mm. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Devilish Bookworms.
If you want to chat with us, be sure to check us out on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
You can also find our podcast on YouTube and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.